Perchendatia to all of you out there. Thank you for coming to my first ever live stream. I've never done this before, so this will be interesting, and we'll just jump right in. Jasmine asked, "What's your favorite thing about Albanian culture?" This is an easy one for me. For me, I would say Besa. Albanians have a they have this. There's a part of their culture is just hospitality. There was an ancient law. I made a whole video about it. There's an ancient law um, in the country that is now Albania that the house belongs to God and to guests. And so there's this very Albanians are very hospitable as a general people, which is amazing, really nice. How does someone learn slash know how to gain permanent residency? This costs and steps I need to take. I don't know that off the top of my head. You can send me an email or a DM on Instagram, and I can get you connected with some people that might know that. Personally, I have a job here, so I'm on a work and residence permit, so it's easy for me to be here. Makes it super simple. And then my work did it all. So I work in media. Um, Someone asked, "How do you make a living there in Albania?" So here in Albania, so I work for a nonprofit organization here in Poker that's called Nehemiah Gateway. I do media marketing. I do social media, website development, video, photo, that sort of stuff. And it was through that work that they helped me get my. I don't have permanent residence. I have a 5-year residence permit, so I have about a year and a half left on it, and I'll have to renew it or try to get citizenship since I've been here for 5 years. Um, Leonard London. Hi, James. How are we all doing? I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. I don't know where is Albania. Albania is borders with Greece, North Macedonia, Kosovo, and Montenegro. And then the Ionian and Adriatic Sea are on the west coast of Albania. The across that is Italy. So if you find Italy and look across the backside of the Italy boot, you will find Albania. Since if it looks like gold, it might not be gold. Can you tell us 5 reasons to not visit Albania? I don't know if I can get to 5 reasons. I love it here, obviously. That's why I chose to live here. Some of the reasons you may not want to visit, there's a lot of litter. Unfortunately, I haven't really figured out why. But there's just a lot of litter. People throw their garbage out of the window of their car. They throw the garbage out of their house windows sometimes. Like you just go hiking through the mountains and there's just garbage everywhere. Other than that, I mean, I can't think of a reason not to visit. If you don't like developing countries, it might not be the place. The infrastructure is slowly being built up, but it's not to peak condition yet, obviously, which is another reason why I enjoy living here. What is my favorite city in the country? I live in Pogradec. Pogradec is my favorite city. It has mountains, it has water. Yeah, it gets a little bit cold. Like right now, we got snow this morning. But I don't think I would change. I like living in Pogradec more than well, I've not lived anywhere else, but of all of it cities that I visited, I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. The second after that, I think, is probably Kruja. I'm a big fan of sunsets, so watching the sunset from Kruja is always fun. And then I like the smaller town vibes. I'm not a Tirana or Durrës or Vlora type of person. Let's see what other questions we got here. No, it's not my definition of Besa. I can't describe Besa super well. You feel it more than you can describe it. Jasmine again says, also got into your channel during lockdown 2020. I've been a fan ever since. I like Albanian culture and the content is amazing. Sweet beans, Chief. Thank you. I appreciate it. My channel really had a big jump in 2019 and then has slowly been crawling up ever since. And I'm hoping to hit it hard again this year and get another jump again, which would be amazing. Mara, great to see you. Thank you for joining. I appreciate it. Mara is one of my patrons. If you don't know what Patreon is a platform that you can donate money monthly Yeah, and you can donate money to help me achieve what I'm doing here and help me continue making videos and whatnot. And Mara's been doing that since I started, basically. Nathan, can you live on $500 a month in there? It's my salary. I live on less than $500 a month, or maybe about $500 a month, not including some of the stuff from the United States that I have to pay for, some insurances and investment accounts. But I think that if you don't go out all the time, if you're decently smart with your money, $500 a month should be fine. Tirana, to live in the capital city of Tirana might be a bit more difficult because of um, the cost of living, the rent prices up there. The market is a bit crazier. But if you live in a little bit smaller town, find an easier apartment. It's not too bad. James, what do you think of the prices here in Albania? I like it. I work for an Albanian company, so I get an Albanian salary. So without the Albanian prices of stuff, it would be difficult to afford to live here. Um, I also sometimes do work outside of, like I have freelance jobs editing for people around the world, in the US and the UK, whatever. So then, when I can get a few extra jobs, uh, then the prices in Albania are even nicer. Julian, what is up, man? Hey, James, we coached soccer together in Chattanooga back in 2014. I love your channel. Glad to see you're doing well. God bless. Julian, man, I had your Jesus Never Quit bracelet on for so many years after that 2014 summer. And I don't remember what happened to it. I think it broke on one of my travels at some point. But if you're still around, send me another one and I'll keep wearing it. Good to hear from you, bro. Um, Let's see. The chat keeps going wild. I've never done this. I've been to Voskapoya and it was very nice. Voskapoya is nice. If you don't know what Voskapoya is, search my channel for Voskapoya, and there's a video about it. Have you been to Kosovo yet or plan to go? I went to Kosovo one time. I went to Peja. I think it was in 2019. I would love to go back. I just have not had a chance to yet. Now that I have my van, the plan is to go up there and camp some. My trip up there, I planned to do 2 or 3 days and was there for 2 days, and some stuff came up, so I had to leave before I had a chance to go to Prizren. But I would like to go back and visit Prizren, and I have a friend who lives in Pristina, I believe, so I'd like to go visit him as well. Let's see. Um, How much is 1 lakh to an American dollar? Well, I don't know the exact price. That's a better price for Google. 1 lakh to an American dollar. 1 lakh is about a cent. It's about a little bit over 100. I don't remember, maybe it's 105 or 106 Albanian lek to a dollar. Colin, what's your dating life like in Albania? Um, Colin, you could just text me that. You don't need to call me out like that. Can you speak Albanian? I can speak a little bit. I can get around. I can travel by myself. It's all good. I'm learning more. I'm trying to learn more. It's really hard to have long conversations. I think the language is decently difficult. How about tax? I don't know. Nathan, if you want to send me a message on Instagram, I can get you connected with some people that can answer all of those kinds of questions. My salary gets taxed before it goes into my bank account, so I don't think about taxes. Um, Family in Albania is saying that prices are increasing and tourism has begun to slow down. Tourism slowed down in 2020 and 2021, which makes a bit of sense. Towards the end of the summer 2021, there were more people coming. Prices are increasing, but I think prices all around the world are increasing. The most notable increase that I've seen in prices is fuel for the cars. It's gone up by about 10 lek per liter, which is the equivalent of like 40 cents a gallon, about. Thank you, Leonard. I've been here for almost 4 years, so been spending a lot of time, or I've been here long enough to learn a lot. Greg, hey, good to see you in the chat. Glad you got to Ohrid okay. Well, for first-time visitors to Albania, what would we find most surprising? You know, one of the things that I think people find surprising is the trash. A lot of the promotional material for Albania, as promotional material should, but it ignores some of the litter that's around. So I made a video highlighting that specifically so that people wouldn't be too surprised by that. I think also people would find the hospitality of Albania surprising. A lot of the United States, especially, their connection with Albania is, or their thought about Albania is taken. Are the bad guys that steal Liam Neeson's daughter, that kidnap Liam Neeson's daughter, are from Albania, and and I think that people would be surprised that Albanians don't act like they do in that movie. And oftentimes, Albanians in Albania don't they Albanians get a bad reputation, and a lot of times that's from Albanians that live outside of the country. So when you visit Albania, even if you like hear about Albanian mafia or whatever in bigger towns around Europe, you forget that people in the city aren't the same, or people in the country aren't the same. Julian, yeah, I'll shoot you a message on Facebook. We'll hook it up. Welcome back, James. I just joined. How much have prices gone up with global inflation? Prices have gone up a bit. I just mentioned, maybe you heard this. Fuel prices have gone up 10 lek, so about 10 US cents per liter. And then I noticed that beef. I've been buying a lot of beef recently, and the beef has gone up 200 or 300 lek per kilo, which is a lot. Have you ever went in Puka? I have not. I'll look into it though. Tourism hasn't begun to slow down. It's an off season, right? Even during the summer, maybe tourism was slower, but it didn't seem like it from my perspective. Let's see. Yeah, Nathan, there's a lot of beautiful nature here in Albania. It's amazing. It's one of the reasons why I chose to live here. And if you follow me on Instagram, I highlight some of that amazing nature. All right. I think I've gotten through the questions in the chat. Man, there was a big flurry of them in there. Again, thank you to everyone that's here. I am going to, I asked for some questions on Instagram, and so I'll pull out my phone and answer some of those, and then keep checking back in the chat to see if there's more questions. One bad thing about Albania. Yeah, people keep asking this, and there's a lot. There's not a lot. There's a few, and I mean, there's bad things about everywhere. I think that more often than not, people think about bad things in Albania, and so I try to show the positive things in Albania. I think that anything that I say would be a massive generalization, so I don't want to say too much. The mindsets of a lot of people can be very frustrating for someone like me who comes from the United States. A lot of people here seem much more closed-minded than I would like. But it's a different culture. It's a country that has only been out of communism for about 30 years or so. And so you can't really blame them. There's still a lot of people here, a lot of the older generations, didn't really have a choice about their mindset. Do I speak Tosk or Geg? Honestly, I'm not. I don't know. The little Albanian that I do speak, whenever I try, everyone says, "Oh, you're learning Albanian poker heads." I guess they know, they can tell. So whichever one is more common, but I honestly, I don't remember which one of those is more common. Burek versus souvlaki. I love burek. I absolutely love burek. That's one of the hardest things not to eat every single day. And there's so many different kinds. Souvlaki is good, but you have to have all of the ingredients be good. And then burek, you just stop at any burek store. I don't know if Colin is still in here. My friend Colin came to visit last June, and he was on a burek tear. He tried every burek he could, and we found just outside of Lej. I think it was just outside of Lej, we found a little burek stand, and he was like, "This is the most amazing burek." If you want to see Colin's trip in Albania, there's a video. It's like 50 minutes long, but I love it. I filmed it and I made it more like a documentary style, documenting Colin's journey through Albania and his discovery of the nature and the food here, which was a lot of fun. James, what's the biggest challenge for you in Albania? I think one of the biggest challenges for me, Leonard, is just because I don't speak the language super well, it's hard to make a lot of good friends. It's hard to get to know someone on a deeper level when you don't speak their native language super well, and so it makes it a little bit difficult. And so I feel alone a lot, which works fine for making YouTube videos, but then when I want to watch a movie with some friends or something, it makes it a bit difficult. Jasmine asked, favorite Albanian dish or food? Hmm. Burek might be up there. Burek is delicious, and I know it's not specifically Albanian necessarily, but I love it. Have you watched any matches in the new stadium in Toronto? No, I would love to. I tried to watch the World Cup qualifier, I think it was, or maybe Euros qualifier against France back when it first opened, when the stadium first opened, but I was unable to get a ticket. I would love to get a ticket and come, film a video and show people what it's like in this brand new stadium in Toronto. It looks amazing, but I've not had a chance to go in there. Bad things about being terrible roads, bad handling of coronavirus, and the laws are not being followed. You know, not all the roads are terrible. Some of us like bad roads. I drive my van on all the roads that I can find. The worse, the better. That's not 100% true. Um, Chofta is greater than Burek. Yeah, that might be true, but Burek just hits it every time. Some places I don't really like their Chofta. I'm in California, been to Albania twice. I love burek and souvlaki. Wife is from Albania and makes burek at home, but it's not the same. Lucky. I need someone who can make burek for me at home. Albanian mountains or sea? I love the sea. I like mountains, but me and water, you can't take me away from water. How you found Albania? What made you come in Albania? Most Americans don't know where Albania is. Honestly, I didn't know where Albania was before I came for the first time in 2017. My dad got asked to come give lectures. He travels around the world and lectures. And the people that asked him to come said he could bring his wife. My mom didn't want to go, so he asked me if I wanted to go, so I came. So that was 2017. And then in 2018, almost a year later, I had some communication with some people here and found a job. Do you meditate or believe in the law of attraction? Do you think that our thoughts create our reality? Wow, that's way deeper than I was anticipating for this live stream. I do meditate. I try to meditate every day. I have a minimum of 10 minutes that I try to accomplish in my meditations. But sometimes it goes longer, and sometimes I can't quite make it to 10 minutes. I can't even make friends in my country. Yeah, sorry, Nathan. It's hard, and it doesn't get easier as you get older. Daskabab. How could I forget Daskabab? I love it. It's amazing. And pilaf. Pilaf. There's so many good Albanian foods. Hi, James. Where are you from? I'm from the United States. I've lived in, I think, a total of 8 different states over the course of my life. I was born in Alabama, spent most of my life in Idaho, or not most of my life, the longest period of my life, spent 12 years in Idaho, and then lived in Hawaii, Oregon, Washington, Tennessee, Georgia, and then lived in Alabama and Tennessee right before coming to Albania in 2018. Thank you for using your talent to bring optimism and hope to Albanians. Thank you, Henry. That was a very nice thing to say. I appreciate it. Whenever I go in Albania, I feel depressed for the people who live in extreme poverty. Yeah, I understand. I don't have an answer to that. I work for an organization that tries to help people that are in extreme poverty, but there's poverty all over the world, and it's a tough thing to deal with. Tony, what's up, man? You should do a Q&A more often. Yeah, I would, except I get the exact same questions every time. So I feel like if I space them out, a bit, then more people will have more questions rather than answering, why am I in Albania every time? If you're curious about that, I answered it earlier in this video, or you can go watch my video that I made, why did I move to Albania? Albanian cheese and peppers look fire, tasty, delicious. Jasmine, you just got to come. Just come visit Albania. You'll try all the food, you'll see all the scenery, and you'll fall in love even more than you already have. You may not want to leave. You must say you're a true Albanian, having been here during the 2019 earthquake. Yeah, that was a rough time. That was impressive. I mean, I felt the earthquakes, but I live far enough away that it wasn't that bad. Favorite city that I visited in Albania. So I answered this earlier, but my favorite city in Albania is Pogradec, where I live. But if I say favorite city where I visited, I'd say Kruja. Liked your photography video. Very nice stuff. I'm much into photography. Would love more of Albania photography video. That's awesome. That video did not do well. I did it because I wanted to make it, and that's something that I often do. Um, I Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I will think about making more now that I know someone actually watched it and appreciated it. You're still playing basketball in Albania? I would love to. The only people that I know here that play basketball are in high school, so I don't play much. And I think if I went to Tirana, I'd be able to find more. But here in Pogadas, there's not that many that play. I haven't played basketball consistently in about 2 years. Do you feel Albania is small compared to the U.S.'s states? Yes, I love the size of Albania because I can make YouTube videos about the entire country. I can drive from one side to the other in a day. I can get at almost anywhere in the country 6 or 7 hours or fewer. And because of that, it makes it really easily accessible. I've picked one of the most difficult corners of the country to get around, but to live in order to get around. But I like it. I like that I can get from the mountains, from this lake that I live on to the sea in 3 or 4 hours. Whereas, I lived in certain US states that it would take much longer than that just to get across to a different state. Um, James, do you think there is an agenda south is better than north of Albania? I don't know. Depends on what you like. If you want mountains, go north, or some place in the south. If you want beaches, go south. You still have the Volkswagen. Of course, I still have a Volkswagen, 22 years old and still running. I haven't had it for 22 years. I've had it for coming up on 2 years. Have you ever seen Albania change how have you seen Albania change since you lived there? I lived in Toronto from 2011 to 2015 and changed so much in that short period. Yeah. The small towns, especially. Pogradec is getting a facelift. Roads are being redone. We'll see how long, if there's a good maintenance, how long it'll last. But roads are being redone. The buildings are being painted. It just all in all, buildings are going up. Tirana's getting nicer. I think that I forget how much it's changed in my time here. What I've done is recently I've been going back through old footage. My next video that will come out next Saturday, I'll go through a bunch of old footage. And I was looking at footage from when I first visited in 2017, and things here are just way different than they were then. Have you ever been to Libraj? Yeah, I pass through Libraj frequently. I've stopped in Libraj once, maybe twice. Go to the Gabi. Jasmine, thanks for answering my questions. This is entertaining. Jasmine, feel free to, if you don't already, follow me on Instagram. Shoot me messages there if you have more questions, and I will try to answer whatever I can. Margot Parts, hey, cool videos. Love the Albanian nature vibes. How do the VWT4 4x4 vans cost in Albania? How is it to drive? I got a deal on mine, I think. I bought mine for about 3,000 euros. Had to replace the transmission and a few other things. But it didn't look like the way that I have it. If you want to see what it looked like before, like when I first bought it, go watch my my van life in Albania video. I think that they would cost more than that, but I don't actually know. Mine was basically a steal for what those things are worth. Do you get / feel the Albanians are staring at me? Oh yeah, all the time. It happens a lot. I think sometimes it's because I'm tall. I'm almost 2 meters tall, and have long hair and a beard, and I don't dress like Albanian, so it's obvious that I'm a foreigner. I think sometimes it's because they recognize me from YouTube, or they have seen me around town and they know who I am. But I get stared at a lot. Earlier yesterday, I was walking around. I had a guy staying with me, and we got stared at a lot. I think walking around speaking English, I think it aids or exacerbates the staring. Albanian pizzas or American pizzas? Honestly, gonna get hate for this. I prefer American pizzas, but maybe that's just because that's what I was raised with. Or maybe I haven't had really good Albanian pizza, but the cheese on the pizzas here, not that great, in my opinion. And the toppings, there's just not enough toppings. Have you been to Kosovo? Yeah, been to Kosovo one time. Visited Pea. I remember visiting in 2004, revisiting in 2018. That's a long time. That's a long difference. I can't wait to like look, come back, or maybe I'll still be here in 10 years and see how much has changed. Look back at videos that I've filmed now. That's part of the reason why I like the videos now because it shows people what Albania is like now, but then in 10 or 20 years, Albania is changing so fast that the people won't believe what it used to look like. I mean, I wish people could have been making YouTube videos 20 years ago. I mean, imagine what the country would have looked like then. Love your content, brother. How's the real estate market like? Farm/country type. Man, I wish I could answer that question. I've not looked into real estate. I have had a lot of people ask me about real estate, but I just don't know. I mean, when I drive around, I see a lot of land for sale, but I don't know prices. I wouldn't know like the market at all. Have you ever been to Villapoya Beach in Shkodër County? I don't think so. Maybe I don't. It doesn't ring a bell. I went to Shenzhen. I went to Shenzhen, but I don't think that's Villapoya. Try visit also nature close to Albania, like Kosovo, Macedonia, Montenegro. They're beautiful too. You can do a Balkan photography tour. Yeah, one of the big reasons I bought a camper van is so that I could travel around the Balkans and do a lot. And then, you know, pandemic decided to delay that. I have some big road trip plans that I'm hoping to be able to accomplish sometime in the next few years if borders are getting more consistent. Albania needs pepperoni and mozzarella. That's what I'm saying. I've had one pizza here that the pepperoni actually tasted like pepperoni. My wife is curious to know, is your organization donating to Ukraine? I'm not sure. I work from home and I haven't been on campus since the whole Ukraine thing started. And so I have, well, not since it started. I haven't been on campus. I haven't been around my bosses since Putin decided to invade Ukraine. So I don't know what they're doing about that. Better poor in a first world country or rich in a third world country, given that no matter how much money you have in the third world country, the services aren't so qualitative. I don't know if that's a question, but I'm going to respond to it. First of all, I'm not poor or I'm not rich in a third world country. I am maybe slightly above average in terms of my income, but I would not call myself rich here at all. If I was living in the US, I would be very poor. And to me, it comes down to I don't care how much money I make as long as I can be happy. And here I can make YouTube videos that are interesting and people enjoy watching. And I can do jobs that I love and have time for myself. And in the US, if I was trying to do that, I may not be able to make enough money or have enough time to, you know, enjoy myself. And so the fact that I am in a poorer country, in a developing country, I think that the services aren't up to the same quality standard, but I don't think that that's a problem. It sucks sometimes. It sucks that I can't get onto Amazon and order something and have it at my door in 2 days, but you find ways around it. You learn to make do with what you have. I'm still going to support you through Patreon, even though you know nothing about real estate. Thank you. I appreciate it. If you want to send me a message either on Patreon or on Instagram, I can find you information about real estate. I can connect you with people who have looked into it, and maybe they can help you out more than I can. Do you know a good local apartment slash room rental agent? I arrive in Albania on March 10th. Can I connect with you on Instagram? Yep. Send me a message on Instagram. Anyone that needs, help with something, send me a message on Instagram. I'll do whatever research I can, or at least maybe be able to redirect you to a website or something that can help you a bit more. Dubrovnik and Kotor are beautiful. I love Kotor. Not been to Dubrovnik yet. I would love to. I made a video in Kotor back in 2018, in November 2018. That was a lot of fun. Would love to go back to Kotor, especially with my van. That would make it way more fun. Um, are you going to stay in Albania forever? You know, probably not, but I have no idea. I mean, I could leave Albania next month, maybe. I have no idea. I'm not leaving next month, but I don't know how long I'll stay here. There's so many factors involved in that. You just never, I never know how to answer that question. When I know when I'm leaving, I'm sure you'll see a video about it. Velipoja Beach is the largest in Albania, yet you don't know. I've heard of it. I just don't remember if I've been there because I just go places without looking at names. So, do you know why Albania changed the amount of time Americans can stay there from 1 year to 3 months? I don't know the exact reason. My speculation is that they're trying to get into the EU, and this is one of the easy things to change because the EU only allows Americans for 3 months. And so my guess, again, I don't know for sure. I don't have the, for sure information, but my guess is that it's because, they just need to be in line with the EU regulations to be able to join the EU. So yeah, that's what I would guess. How do you deal with the lack of a correct slash unified addressing system aside from 30 minutes left to near X school next to the car wash? Um, I've kind of adapted, especially like here in Pogadets where I know how to get around now. It makes it a lot easier. Um, in other cities, it's a bit more difficult, a bit more frustrating. But I don't know street names of Pogadets. Like people tell me, oh, it's on this street. And I don't know what street that is. Just tell me what landmark it's near. But I grew up in a small town, which is what you would do anyway. I mean, you pass by that big house with the turret, the big green house, or whatever, and then you move on to the next thing. Um, I heard Albania is the most atheistic country in the world. Has it changed? Um, I'm I don't know. Albania was declared an atheist country by the dictator, um, Enver Hoxha. And since then, since his death and since the fall of communism, obviously the religion has grown. There have been there's a lot of Orthodox churches, there's some Catholic churches, there's a lot of mosques around. Um, it might still be the most atheistic country in the world, but I don't know stats to back that up. Um, Also, during communism, apparently it was declared an atheist country, but then there were still people that were practicing in secret, like happens with most religion. Do you like the life pace in Albania? I love the life pace in Albania. I love that things are a bit slower, usually, especially in the small towns. And I just, I work my normal job and then do my little YouTube and side hustle stuff in the evenings and whatever. And I can hopefully get ahead of the game a little bit. What are the different personality traits between people from Albania and the US? Personality traits. I don't know. Um, yeah, I'll have to think about that. I'm not sure. Did you live in a few cities in Albania first? Or did you decide where you lived before you moved? When I came to visit Albania for the first time in 2017 with my father, we came to Pogradec specifically. I did not even see, I think I saw Korcha and obviously flew into the airport in Tirana. Um, when I came back, I got a job with a nonprofit organization in Pogradec. So I didn't even think about living in any other city. I haven't, I mean, I've had uh, trips to other cities for a few days at a time, and that a lot of them were nice. I still prefer Pogradec over any of them. What's the most usual stereotype you have to fight against related to what Albanians think slash talk with you? I think the most usual stereotype. I think what you're asking is about the most stereotype about me. I think the most usual stereotype about me is that I make tons of money because I'm American, or just the fact that life in America is automatically better than life in Albania, which is not true. And I've been talking about this for a long time. Albanians often think that just any other country is better, and that's not necessarily the case. I did a whole video about how I think that despite Denmark, I think in 2019, Denmark was the second happiest country in the world, maybe 2018. Now, or second happiest country in Europe, and Albania was the second least happy country in Europe. And I did a whole video talking about how they determined that. And quality of life in Albania often is better. I hear a lot of people coming back from Germany or from United States on a visit back to America or back to Albania, and they're they miss it. They want to be able to sit in a coffee shop with their friends or walk down the promenade on a Giro in the evening. Um, and it's just the rat race of the bigger countries of the first world countries just wear on people, especially if you come from a culture where you're used to spending time sitting and spending time with one another. Um, Just subscribe to your Patreon for $5 a month. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'll be sending you an email after I get off this live stream to thank you more personally. Stayed in a Toronto hostel you'd recommend? I have not. I have friends in Toronto that I stay with, but again, send me a message on Instagram, and I know of some hostels in Toronto that I've heard recommended, and I'm happy to forward that information to you. How do you deal with the lack of entertainment places / ideas aside from let's go for a coffee or come to my house for a drink? Yeah, that's rough for me. I don't drink coffee and I don't drink alcohol. So when the whole hanging out entertainment culture revolves around spending time drinking those beverages, I feel left out sometimes. Um, I spend a lot of time watching YouTube. I spend a lot of time making things, making YouTube videos, making podcasts. I'm editing a documentary right now about Korean pop music. So I find stuff to do. I spend a lot of time alone. My entertainment is hopping in my van and driving into the mountains, or going and camping somewhere, or starting a campfire and just sitting by it and looking at the stars or something. Um, to me, like I've never been a movie theater fan. I would go bowling sometimes when I was younger. The typical stereotypical entertainment things that come to mind. I don't go out to clubs. I went clubbing one time in Cancun in Mexico during spring break, and it was a bad idea, and I haven't been back to a club since. So I just find ways to entertain myself. Luckily, I have a hobby that takes time, and I'm looking at picking up other hobbies to try to keep that entertainment up. But the let's go for a coffee and come to my house for a drink things are they're very real and hard to deal with if you're not into those things. I'll still go have a coffee with people and drink a juice sometimes. Right now, it's mostly water, but I don't know. It's the best place to camp or hike. Hmm. You know, all over the country. I would recommend camping in places that are a bit more removed. Um, I think some of the best hikes are up in the north in the mountains near Valbona and Theth. I think that camping, I've camped on the beaches, I've camped in some mountains. Like I love all of it. I just like camping. I like being out in nature, and there's tons of nature in Albania, and wild camping is allowed. So if you're going to do it, please pack out any trash that you bring in, and don't light wildfires. Keep your fire small and ideally in places that there's already been a fire. But camping in general is great. Thank you for your helpful answers. I'm always happy to help. Send me a message and I can do more. Learning Albanian will be a breakthrough in my opinion. Yeah, I think so. And I just have never, maybe it's a mental block. I just have never thought I'm good at languages. Maybe I just need to really buckle down. Maybe that could be my new hobby, learning Albanian. How many references to the movie Taken were done from your friends and family related to Albania? Honestly, most of my friends and family, I had to tell them that the bad guys from Taken were from Albania. They didn't remember that tidbit. You're living an awesome life listening to what you enjoy doing, and you're doing it. Very happy for you. Keep it up, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. And that's why I live in this country, because I found something that I like doing, and I found a place that I can do it in. Yeah. Do you ride motorcycles? And if so, is there a good culture there? I do not ride motorcycles. I have a couple of friends that ride motorcycles. They do oh, forgive me if I'm using the wrong terms. Um, I want to say Crosstrek, but that's a Subaru. The motorcycle is like the um, not the cruisers, like like overlanding type motorcycles. I have a couple of friends that ride those. They enjoy it. I see people riding like Harleys on the highways from Toronto, that sort of stuff. So there's a bit of a culture. I think you need to be generally in a bigger city to find that, but yeah, you're not. I'm sure that you can find the people there. Dual sport, yeah, I think that's the term that I'm looking for. Coming from the U.S., the lack of wildlife in Albania was weird. Yes, it's very strange to me. Where I lived in the U.S. right before I came, it was not. There was not a lot of wildlife, but I would still see my parents in their backyard. You see deer, or squirrels, or armadillos, or whatever. And I come here, and you see birds. I've seen some foxes. I've seen one squirrel. I saw a giant bear print that was like this big when I was hiking one time, in some mud. It was a fresh print. So there's wildlife here. There's just not a lot. The wildlife in Albania is the living itself. Do you speak Albanian and Montenegrin? No, I speak some Albanian. I no, I know no words in Montenegrin. Is that even that's how you say it, I guess. What do you think about Kosovo? Any thoughts of moving there? I actually I almost moved to Kosovo before I came here. I like to think of Kosovo as an extension of Albania, so my hope is to spend more time exploring Kosovo, just like I spend time exploring Albania. Um, and yeah, it's I don't know if I'd move there, but maybe if the opportunity came up, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I've seen a lot of photos and videos from Kosovo that are beautiful, big green meadows that look amazing in the mountains. Would you ever do a walking tour for tourists? Sure. If you're in Pogadets, shoot me a message. I'm happy to show you around a bit. I mean, it'll take 10 minutes max, but I'm happy to show you some spots. Yeah, send me a message on Instagram. I've been to Denmark and I learned from the Danish that they have the world's second highest use of happy pills. Social security is great in Scandinavia. Family, spiritual, and inner happiness is broken. Yeah. Suicide rates in the Scandinavian countries are higher than a lot of countries, despite the World Health Organization, something, labeling them as the happiest countries in the world, and it's based off of particular criteria that is just like perceptions of corruption, GDP per capita, these sorts of things, and it just yeah, okay. If you go off of those numerical values, sure, Scandinavia should be happy, but then if you look at antidepressants or suicide rates, then also Scandinavia is high in those, which really sucks. So while Albania is much lower on the list of happiness, they're also far lower on the list of in suicide rate. Saw and liked the video of when you surprised your family for the Christmas visit while you're back. Do you plan to have more of your family come visit you in Albania? Would be fun if they surprised you. Yeah. My mom was going to come visit. She thought about coming to try to surprise me, and stuff got in the way, and she couldn't come. Um, but yeah, that was fun surprising them. I would love if my family came to visit, but a lot of them are married now. I have a lot of siblings, and the majority of them are married, and the other ones, you know, it's a far trip, so I can't blame them. How do you compare the stress and pressure between Albania and the States and life criteria overall? I would say stress in Albania is way lower, way, way lower. But I don't know if that's like the hustle culture. I don't know if that's societal pressures. I don't know. Sorry, I just saw my sister ask who was my favorite sibling. I love all of you equally. Um, she's asking for a friend. Yeah, stress and pressure between Albania. I feel like there's lower pressure, lower stress levels. Another reason that I like living here, things are far more relaxed than in the U.S. In my experiences in the two places. I'm sure that there are other places. Um, I hate to ask this, but what are the odds you're going to meet a nice Albanian woman and settle down? I.e., what is the quality of women like? Um, hmm. The odds of me settling down in Albania, um, I gotta say 50-50. Right now, I just have no idea. It's possible, or it could not. And this is answering Leonard's question too. Do you see an opportunity in Albania to consider the rest of your life over there? Yes, maybe not. I would like to make more. I would like to get more of my income from things like this, from YouTube, from Patreon, from creating content, doing things that I like. And if I was doing that, I could see myself staying here longer. I would love to. Uh, I would love to be able to not work a full-time job here while doing everything else, but right now I don't have the income for that from my side stuff and YouTube stuff to be able to make that work. Um, yeah, I don't know if I'd settle down here or not. Do you feel like you are the chosen one when it comes to decision or discussing X topic with Albanians? Do they see you as the know-all, the God? Excuse me. For any of you who weren't here at the beginning, my my throat was acting up this morning, so my voice is a little bit gone. It'll probably be gone here at the end of this by the end of this live stream. Um, I don't like using the term chosen one or know all or God. I do feel like there are certain topics that people come to me to talk about specifically. Um, Often it's just having to do with the United States, which makes sense because I lived there for how many years did I live there? 20 something, 20 something years. Um, and yeah, they're just there are certain topics that people talk specifically to me about. But I don't wouldn't say that they like necessarily think that my opinion is that I know most of it. I think that they just are interested in my opinion on the topic. How do you manage taxes being an American citizen in Albania? Do you pay income tax on what you make on YouTube? Okay, I've been waiting for a question like this actually. Um, what I meant was he's American. He thinks or knows better than us. Yeah, no, I feel like that does happen, and I try to discourage that type of thinking. When I get that kind of vibe from someone, I try to make sure that their thoughts and their opinions on it are valued as well, so that they know that just because I'm from the U.S. does not automatically mean that I have I don't know better or think better about something. Taxes. I still file my tax in the United States. The US has a foreign income tax exclusion. So money that you earn out of the country, um, up to a certain amount, which is 90,000, almost $100,000, I believe, you don't get taxed on in the United States, provided that you're paying taxes in your own country. I believe. I'm not an accountant. This is not, I don't know how this works. I have a friend who does my taxes. I send him all of the documents and he knows all the ins and outs of all of it. I file my taxes in the United States every year, and I have not had to pay since because I don't make enough. Because all of my income is here, I'm taxed here, and so the United States doesn't take income tax from me, and I don't own any property in the U.S. to pay taxes on. YouTube withholds money for taxes from all of the creators, I believe, and so I may get that back. I'm not sure because my income here is so low; it's like below the poverty line in the U.S., and so I don't think I even technically would need to file taxes because it's such a little amount. Um, he's human. He likes to make videos and help others. I do my best. I do my best. Or on another point of view, do you get better service from, let's say, waiters on bars, coffees, more welcome just because you're a foreigner? That does happen. Not in Poker anymore because people know who I am. And like in some cases it sucks, in some cases it's nice. Like I don't want to be treated differently, but when a policeman hears me speaking really bad Albanian and waves me on, I'm not going to complain that he's not going to try to like, you know, get angry at me for speeding or like whatever it was that he pulled me over for. Um, I I People seem much more ready to help. Well, I don't have anything to compare it to, but people seem very ready to help me because I'm a foreigner. I often will go in and ask someone if they speak English if I have something complicated to ask them. If not, I just try to make it work in Albanian. Um, yeah. I don't know. It's hard to compare because because I am a foreigner, I don't know what to compare it to. I don't know if I'm being treated better or not. But I do get treated very well. Um, and that might just be, general Albanian hospitality, and it might just be I'm an obvious non-Albanian. Well, you can be an English/Albanian well spoken for tourism that can propel you to stay even longer. Yeah. Got a video coming up where I am I'm going to reference that. I've been here trying to promote this country since 2018 and 2020. A bunch of other YouTubers came in, and their videos are now like higher in the search than mine are, which is fine. But I like to think of myself as the OG YouTuber here in Albania, and I think that that has helped. The fact that I live here, boots on the ground, gives me a better um, perception on how things are than someone who's just stayed for 2 or 3 months. If you were the first foreigner that came to Albania the first day after communism, what would you have taught, told, or advised them? Wow, what a good question. Came to Albania the first day after communism, what you have taught, told, or advised them? I don't know. That's such an interesting question. I'm not going to sit here and think. I'll think about it later. But I love the question. I wish I could give you a better answer. Um, I think I would have tried to just show them what the rest of the world was like, maybe, so that they knew pretty quickly that the information that they were being fed was all propaganda. But I'm also like, that would be weird because I wouldn't want to just automatically come in and be like, look at how much better everyone else is, how much better off everyone else is. Um, think of it as you're president of a third world country with 3 million inhabitants. Yeah, I have no idea how to respond to that. I have never even considered that. Is Albania accepting U.S. state-issued vaccine cards or digital records for U.S. arrivals, meaning is a PCR test still needed? Um, if you're fully vaccinated, so if you have a booster, if it's necessary to have a booster, Albania will accept your U.S. issued vaccine cards. I had friends come, or I had a friend come who had U.S. vaccine and they let him in just fine. And then when I came back from the U.S. About a month ago, my vaccine card is from Albania, but I did not need a PCR test to get in. You are the Albanian OG. Oh yeah, maybe the Albanian YouTube OG. How long does it usually take you to edit your videos, and what software do you use? I just downloaded DaVinci free for my wife who just began a YouTube channel. That's awesome. Good for your wife. I use Final Cut Pro. It was what I learned on. Well, I learned on iMovie, and switching to Final Cut Pro was very simple and very easy. Um, it was a pretty simple, or it was a pretty direct switch. How long does it usually take you to edit your videos? It just depends. If I go Some of my videos, I'll go and, like, record a trip, and then I come back and spend 5, 6 hours editing it, and it's done. Other videos, I made a video when I was in Hawaii a month and a half ago, and it's still not done because I'm still tweaking things. It just depends on what kind of video it is. If it's a documenting, like, "This is what I did here," then it usually goes much quicker because I put it all in chronological order, and it's nice and easy. If it's a video like this upcoming one about Hawaii, um where I'm telling a story that was 5 years in the making, and I have all this old footage and the new footage and trying to piece it together. It can take days, weeks, months. My video coming out next Saturday, I've been working on it for 3 or 4 days now, and that's just sorting through all of my footage that I've ever filmed since 2015, all leading up to this moment next Saturday. Hi, buddy, you are great, and continue to do that in your best job. Thank you. Do you trust an Albanian at the same level as you would trust another foreigner? Yeah, um, I do. I tend to trust. Sorry, I tend. Wow, that didn't help at all. I tend to trust I tend to trust anybody, to a certain extent until they give me a reason not to, and then, the longer they go without giving me a reason not to, the longer I trust them. Um, so I wouldn't like a random Albanian on the street, I trust them just as much as a random American that I would meet on the street in the United States. Um, the advantage you and some other YouTubers promoting Albania is that you like living. Oh, is that you're living like an Albanian? Yeah, that helps. I'm living in a small town. I'm not trying to just say, "Look, I'm passing through Tirana. It's a great city. It's cheap, whatever." Tina, how are you doing? You seem tired. I'm a little bit tired. I'm good. I'm gonna wrap this up in the next few minutes. Did not think this many people would be in here, but this is awesome. And if you guys want more live streams, I'll consider doing them more often. Um, I'm a bit tired. I've had a little throat thing for the last couple days, so like my vocal cords are hurting, and then I spent most of the day not talking at all, and then now I've been talking for almost an hour straight. So my throat is not feeling the best, but overall I'm pretty good. Thank you for asking. I appreciate your concern. From what I've learned, if you make more frequent videos, your channel will grow much faster and be prioritized by YouTube. That's what I'm hoping. I have a list on my phone of a bunch of video ideas that I want to be making over the course of this year. My hope is to get out 2 to 3 a month, maybe 4 a month. I would love to do it every week. It just depends on what my other workload looks like. Second time I asked something, second time your throat makes noises. Is that a coincidence? The questions are sensitive. No, the questions are not sensitive. I'm not getting emotional. I just, I just am maybe getting sick. I don't know. My throat is not. I haven't been able to talk very well for the last couple of days. For your current employment, are you on contract or salary? Do you think you might look into remote work for a U.S. company? I see a lot of marketing and social media positions open for remote work. I work on a salary for this job, and then I do contracting jobs on a case-by-case basis over the years. In the last 4 or 5 months, I've only been having my salary job here, and all of my contracts had expired and were not renewed. I would love to do remote work for a U.S. company, but to be able to do that from here immediately, like I'm sure a lot of U.S. companies are willing to hire people for remote work, but then often they want them to be, you know, like I don't know. It seems much more difficult to apply for that kind of job and get it from this distance. I do have some things in the works with a friend of mine who was hoping to start a company. She has started a company and looking to bring me on as one of her contractors, and so hopefully that'll work out. But she's still ironing out all the details. What was the local food that you didn't like at all at first sight before tasting it? I'll be honest. I'm not sure if I'm not sure if I'm gonna upset people. Tavkosi. I looked at it, didn't look appealing. I tasted it, didn't taste appealing. Not a huge sour yogurt fan, so tavkosi to me is just not. It's just not it. Um, love from Albania. Keep going. Thanks, Ennis. How much money in USD do you need a month to live well in Albania? It depends on where you live. If you're asking for me specifically, for me to live well in Albania, 700, 700 to 1,000 US dollars a month, I would like not even think about money ever. I currently have certain like I pay life insurance policies and whatnot in the US, so my expenses are a bit higher than they would be if I was just living here. And if I lived in Tirana, I would maybe want more than that because things are more expensive in Tirana. Living is more expensive. My rent is super cheap, so um, yeah. For me to live here for a month, 700 would be nice. I mean, I make a decent amount, so like if I make a decent amount, I make enough to live on right now. If I made an extra 400 or 500 right now, then I would be ecstatic and I would be traveling all over the place when I could. Get well, it's good to drink cold drinks. Yep. Cold water right here in my Yeti. Callum, when are we going camping? Bro, I can't go camping with you until you upload those videos that we recorded a year ago. Actually, 13 months ago. Also, you gotta get back from, um, South America. Like, you come here, we'll go camping. Mara, thank you for joining. I appreciate it. Hopefully, we'll be doing some more of these at some point. Let's jump back to some of these other questions. With the recent rise in used car prices, it's more expensive to purchase a comparable car in Albania than in the US. I don't know. I don't know what the car prices are like in the US. Albanian purchasing cars in Albania is not cheap. James, wasn't long ago when a good businessman would consider a small country as an opportunity to start something even better, European country. Yeah, I've been racking my brain for 4 years trying to find a good business opportunity and some good investors, or a good business idea and some investors. I haven't been able to find anything yet. How many times, if any, have you had to bite your tongue because Albanians wouldn't get it or get it in a bad way? I tend not to bite my tongue. I try to explain things in a way that doesn't come across mean or the wrong way. If it's someone random that I don't know, yeah, sure, I'll bite my tongue. It doesn't happen that often. If I'm in bigger discussion with people, they're friends of mine, and they will have the grace to let me um, explain what I'm doing, what I'm talking about, without getting offended immediately. So, um, how long have you lived in Albania, bro? Do you feel safe? Yeah, I feel safe. Got to make a video about safety in Albania. I get that question a lot. I've lived here for 3.5 years. Yeah, 3.5 years. What was the most shocking cultural change? I don't know if this is the most shocking, but it was really weird one time when I was walking through town and I saw a bunch of people with umbrellas. I was like, I've never seen this many people with umbrellas. And then I realized in America, in the United States, um, people leave their house, get in their car, drive to the store, get out of their car, go to the store. They don't need an umbrella. They spend most of the time in the car. And I had never lived in a city like New York or something where there's just people walking all the time. So the massive amounts of umbrellas and people walking was a bit odd to me at first. And then I realized, oh, you live in a small town where everything's close together. A lot of people live in town. Why not? I don't know if that's the most shocking, um, but that was there. Have you gone across Oakrid? I've been to Oakrid a number of times, maybe 4 or 5. I haven't been over since 2018, 19, I think. Too many questions about money. What about your faith? Do you feel comfortable sharing it on this channel? Um, I don't. That's something I don't really talk about on the channel. My dad was a pastor growing up. I'm a Christian, but I don't. I can share information for anybody, and I don't really have to go into that. I don't hide it. Happy to talk about it. It's just not. It's not a thing. And in Albania, people don't care what religion you are, so I don't really need to display it so much. They let me worship and believe what I want to believe, and then we be friends and go about our day. What's the biggest city you have ever visited? Ever or in Albania? In Albania, Tirana, but probably ever. Been to New York City, been to Boston, been to Chicago, been to Los Angeles. I don't know which one of. I think New York City and LA would be the biggest out of those. Been to Dubai. I don't know the comparison between those. Haven't been anywhere in China. I've been to a couple of Indonesian cities, so maybe they had high populations. I'm not sure. Um, how do you see Albania's potential? I think there's a lot of potential here. I think that's why investing my time in this country and doing this for my channel. I think that the country can be. I think that it will only go up from here. I think that every year it's getting better and better, and I'm excited to see what it'll be in 10 years. Um, Starbucks or Turkish coffee? I don't drink coffee, so can't answer that question. Loved the call to prayer when I went to visit Albania. That was something I was surprised to experience. Yeah, it's something that people don't realize that they hear, that they will hear here. Um, yeah. How does the old communist pyramid Toronto look in these days? I'm not sure. I think they're doing construction on it. I think they're making it into some sort of IT something. So probably similar to how it used to look, but under construction now. I mean, it used to look like 5 years ago when it was mostly abandoned. Do they have any American fast food in Albania? They have KFC. They have Kentucky Fried Chicken. There is Burger King. And I think that I've been told they're building a Pizza Hut, but I've only seen signs for it, so no guarantee on the Pizza Hut. Do you notice less USA propaganda when in Albania and Europe? Kind of, but because of the internet, I still see stuff everywhere. Like a lot of Trump's presidency, all my information about him, because I'm not watching the news or his actual speeches, was just through Twitter. So yeah, I have to like purposely seek stuff out if I want to find what's actually going on in a lot of these stories. So yeah, I don't know if I see less just because I'm on the internet. It's kind of my job to be on the internet. Do you know how's dating culture in Albania, especially with foreigners? It's a long topic. It depends on the country or the city. It depends on how big the city is. It depends on the family. Some families are more open to it than others. Dating in general, I feel like is not it's not a problem, but oftentimes, the general culture is very protective of their daughters and sisters, and so it's just it a lot of dating happens kind of without telling the family, just because that's how things happen. Fanta in US or Fanta in Albania? I don't really drink soft drinks, and I don't remember the last time I had a Fanta in the US, so we'll go with Albanian Fanta, especially the exotic, because that's not in the US. The pyramid will become an IT school. Great, thanks. Albania tend not to promote the fast food. I love how Albanian tags stray dogs and let them roam. Yeah, sometimes. There's debate on what actually happens to all the stray dogs, but right now they've been tagging them, so that's great. It's better than alternatives. Having lived outside the USA made you sorry, I'm getting tired. I'm gonna wrap this up in the next like 10 or 15 minutes. Has living outside the US made you think things differently related to the US? Yes. Um, I just went back to the US for about 6 weeks, and I was so excited to go. I went to for my brother's wedding, I went to see my family for Christmas, all this stuff, and I got there, and I appreciated the United States so much more than I ever did while I was living there. Convenience of things, being able to go to Walmart and get whatever I needed rather than having to hope some store in town has it. It just there was this comfort level. I made a whole video, the video most recently, right before this one, not the short, but the actual video right before this one, talked about some of the differences between being in the US and being here, and kind of some of the reverse culture shock that I went through when I went back. And it's yeah, I could see myself living back in the US now. When I left, I never wanted to go back. I mean, I never wanted to move back there. Did you ever rent an apartment online, or did you find all the places you've lived in by word of mouth? All the places I've lived in, all three of them have been word of mouth. Somebody knows somebody, or somebody knows somebody who knows somebody, or something. I've not used anything online. I know some people that have used online and they found decent places, but oftentimes they're a bit more expensive if you do it online. How much do you pay in total every month? I made a whole video about cost of living, what it cost me to live per month. That was before I moved into this place. And this apartment is owned by my work, so I don't pay the rent cost anymore. But yeah, I made a whole video about that. It's called "What's the Cost of Living in Albania?" And then yeah, why did you put my amazing gunshot that shot the shell off the box in a video? Well, I was I don't remember why I didn't. I don't think I filmed it. I don't think I filmed it in landscape. I think I filmed it in portrait. That must have been why. I was in Toronto last year for the political rallies in Toronto. Were you surprised by the candidate who won? Politics is something that I don't talk about on this channel. especially Albanian politics. It's one of the most divisive things that Albanians have, and so I don't talk about it. I uh, yeah, I'm not surprised that the guy who was there before won again, and there may have been, I don't know, different people have their different opinions about it. Are there other Americans where you live now? Yeah, there's a few. I think I know most of them. In this small town, it's hard to live here without knowing, or with other Americans here without knowing who they are. Um, do you have central AC and heating? I do not. Currently, as I'm speaking to you, I have my computer on a desk and a heater right underneath the desk, space heater plugged into the wall, keeping me warm. Is boating a big thing in Albania? If yes, will you buy a boat when you get rich? um, yeah, all I need is a few more people to be paying $5 a month on my Patreon, and I'll be in boating business. Uh, it's not so much a huge thing. Most of the boats, at least, well, on the coast, there are more boats. But where I live, we have a giant lake, and most of the boats are fishing boats. And then there's a few boats that come out in the summer. Um, I don't think I would buy a boat. Well, I don't know. I like stand-up paddleboarding. I would buy that before a boat. Boat seems just a bit extreme. You feel Albanians are racist? I don't, but I would not really experience that. Um, Thanks for stopping by, Leonard. Appreciate it. Are you satisfied with your social life? Um, yeah, yeah. My social life is mostly watching Netflix and hanging out with a couple friends sometimes, and that's fine. This time in my life, these years of my life are about building and getting to a point where in 10 years I don't have to be working all the time to be able to, live comfortably. Yes, there's a lot of racism towards the Roma people. That's true. I forgot to mention that. But I don't experience racism, and I think that a lot of the racism towards the Roma is often uh, covert. They don't really understand. Some of the Albanians that act racist towards the Roma don't really understand that what they're doing and saying is being racist, which is sad. Afraid to talk politics. Um, I'm not afraid. I'm just not well informed. And it's not worth it, because I don't want to. I've never been someone to talk about my political stance publicly. Um, and in Albania, it's I don't hear the politicians speak. I don't understand their speeches, and yeah, I don't watch the TV, and I just avoid it. It's not that I'm afraid of it. I just choose not to because it's not. I'm not a citizen here yet, and so I just don't. Yeah, it's not fear. It's it's making a strategic move for my career. That's a joke. Have you been to Skopje? Yeah, been to Skopje a couple of times. Hope to go again soon. Do you feel Albanians do bully, but in a friendly way rather than an offensive way? Yes, they bully, but when you don't understand all the nuances of the language, it's hard to tell if it's friendly or offensive. Please rest lots and get better soon. Your views are admirable, and you're a good soul. Wish you a quick recovery. Thank you. And on that, I think I'm going to close this. I've been talking for an hour and 15 minutes straight, and my throat is feeling it. So I'm going to shut this down. Thank you for everyone who asked questions. This was way more people than I expected on this live stream. So that was awesome. I really appreciate it. I was anticipating being here with like one person. So yeah, I appreciate you all coming by. And yeah, if you have any extra questions, shoot me a message on Instagram, send me an email, whatever you want to do. And have a good night, everyone, or good afternoon if you're in the US. Appreciate it.